Or when it's going to be live. Oh, we are live. So, welcome to Chargeheads Live, everyone. It's another episode. It's Thursday, 8 o'clock. You know how we work. So, Chargeheads Live, just to give a very brief intro, is all about modified EVs, EV conversions. It's petrolheads that like electric cars, essentially. And today, we've got Lash on from Lash Saranna from EZOO. And I thought it'd be great to have Lash on because Lash is, maybe still is, a petrolhead, and he's very much in the EV community. I've met him loads of times at lots of very big EV events. And yeah, Lash, give us a little intro. Tell people about yourself.
Sure. Hope the lighting's not too bright behind me, but I thought why not make a bright entrance anyway. So I'm Lash Saranna, co-founder and CEO of EZOO, where we offer electric cars for subscription and also salary sacrifice. However, let's start at the beginning, if that makes sense. And the beginning is where my love with cars, for cars, began. 1979. I rocked out of school and thought I want to get a job, and everybody else was saying, "Oh, no jobs." This is the era of Margaret Thatcher. 1 in 10, UB40, right? Only one person leaving school got a job, right? Out of 10. So I applied, and I had a fail-safe. My father had served in the Indian Army, and he said to me, "Son, you want to join the army? Get yourself a trade, travel the world." I believed in that. So I enrolled, and I went for all my interviews, my tests and everything, and I was accepted. I got a certificate to say that I'm accepted into the army in the Royal Engineers Fusiliers Brigade, and as a motor mechanic. And I thought, great, I got that. And I said, I don't actually want to join. I just want to make sure that I can join if I so wish to. And they said, yeah, you've got 90 days to make your mind up. I thought, great. On the back of that, I applied for a few jobs. I always fancied technical drawing, so draftsman. Living in Coventry, so AP Lockheed is in Leamington, which is a brake manufacturer. I applied to them. I didn't even know where Leamington was. My big brother had to take me on the bus the night before to show me where the factory was and how I was going to get there. So come the next day, 5:30, I'm at our bus station in Coventry, catch the bus, and it's snowing, it's freezing cold, 120 applicants, and I get through to the last 3.
Nice.
So during the day, they have aptitude tests, they have literacy tests, they have all sorts of tests. Applied for everything, get through to the last 3, and there were only 2 jobs. I didn't make it. First sign of failure. Came home absolutely gutted because in those days they told you on the day, you know,
right
to it. Got back. Second interview, I'd applied to what was then Warwickshire Garage Training Association, because I thought mechanic was one thing that my dad had always taught me. You know, if you learn something with cars, with your hands, some trade that you can apply anywhere in the world, it will hold you in good stead. And I'd applied to Warwickshire Garage Training Association, and I get an interview. So from an interview, they do the test. I get my first interview at a garage on a Friday afternoon. The Friday I am leaving school. So I said, look, I can't come into school from lunchtime. I've got to go for this test, for this interview.
Yeah.
I got somebody to give me a lift to Meriden, which is the very centre, the heart of England. There's actually a statue there to say this is a central point of England.
Okay.
So I get there to this like a local village garage. That's the best way I can describe it, right? It's almost a scene from, I don't know, 1920. This thing is derelict. It's an old filling station. I get there. I said, I'm here for the interview. Cut a long story short, 90 minutes later, the guy shakes my hand and says, right, when can you start? I said, Monday. He said, oh, great. Monday, 8 o'clock. I thought, flipping hell, I haven't even left school yet. I'm starting where? So I went back home.
No holiday.
met my friends, and I told them all, hey, guys, I got a job. Because it's like a big thing to get a job in those days. And they said, "Oh, great! So we'll enjoy summer." I said, "I'm starting work on Monday." that was a pitfall, but that was the best thing that ever happened, because that was my journey to becoming a petrol head. This sleepy little village garage only happened to specialize in sports cars. So at the time, Ferrari, Lotus, Porsche, that was their mainstream 3 brands. But they did Rolls Royce, they did Austin Healey refurbishments, rebuilds from scratch, Triumph Stags, all the old stuff. That's what I was brought up on, literally on real petrol head memorabilia. 308 Ferraris, right? Lotus Elise, Lotus Esprit. That was at the time, that was my favorite car, because it was James Bond. It was Lotus Esprit, and the 2.2 turbo was just that was the beginning of something being sewn into my head, that motor cars, sniff the petrol, whoa, hear the roar, that's what you want. And then, to my amazement, once I get there, about a year later, the owner of the garage, his son, is racing a Formula Ford 2000. This is the days of Margaret Thatcher being the Prime Minister, her son, Mark Thatcher, being involved in Formula Ford and 2000. And if you remember the song Vangelis, this song, I'm trying to think what it's called now, where
what age Formula Ford was it? Sorry.
This would have been 1980, 81, 82, 83.
Okay.
Right. So Mark Thatcher is there, sponsored by TDK, the cassette manufacturers, in their super duper trailer. We're there in a Subaru estate car, which I slept in overnight to make sure that it was perfect. Those were wonderful days. I tell you what, days that, like I said, you could smell the petrol in the air, literally sniff it, and hear the roar of the engine, and working in the pits. It was just awesome.
That sort of car, is it?
Yeah. It used to be yellow and black as well.
The right one. Oh dear, adverts.
Yeah. And well, they didn't look like a burger, but anyway. But those were the days, and oh, that's us. So anyway, we won against all odds. We won 2 races, one at Donington and one at Thatcham, on a Good Friday and the Easter Monday. It is amazing. I tell you what, that feeling of winning, because we were used to coming last or not finishing or anything. And 2 races on the trot, we won, and the local newspaper wrote an article on it, and we were there standing in front of the car, posing and everything. It's fantastic. That was the beginning of my, as I say, my love for cars, the petrol head, the noise, the smell, the ambience, you could almost feel your heart beating to the throb of the engine. It was awesome. And being in Coventry, it's JLR country, as you call it now. In those days, it was Jaguar. There was no Land Rover. It was only Jaguar. But you had Triumph. You had, as it was then, the British Leyland, all of the cars, Morris, and years prior to that, the history of the Singer, the oh God, I'm trying to think now. Triumph, motorcycles and cars. You had Morris, you had Austin, you had Jaguar, you had Sidley Armstrong. There were so many brands, honestly, so many brands. And I had the pleasure of working on virtually all of those cars and driving them and loving them. And then the added bonus of the sports cars, as I say, the Lotus, the Ferrari, the Jensen Interceptor, which was up the road in West Brom. Anyway, I digress enough.
No, this is great. This is great, because I didn't know any of this, Lash. I didn't know any of this about you. So it's fantastic. So carry on. So
that was my love affair. I served what become, or what we may now know as, an old school apprenticeship. I served a 5-year apprenticeship, doing my City and Guilds part 1, 2, and 3, and then so part 1 and 2 were 1 year, but part 3 was 2 years, right? So effectively, at the end of year 4, you got your part 3 City and Guilds, qualified for all of that, no problems, and that was done oddly enough, which people probably wouldn't relate to today, I used to go to college 2 nights a week and 1 day, we used to call it day release. So your employer would give you a day off work to go to college. That was done for 4 years, did that.
Oh, wow.
Then I said to my employer, I want to do a 5th year, which was the Institute of Motorists, right? IMI.
IMI, yeah.
So I did that, and I never believed in myself because I never thought, to me, I was looking at like a day off work. I'll go to college, it'd be all right, have a good laugh, sort of, mingle with the boys and the girls, and it'd be a good bit of fun. As it so happened, I amazed myself. I got a complete distinction in the whole subject and passed. And I thought, wow, smash this. This is brilliant. And my employer was so impressed. He says, oh, do you want to do another year? And I said, yeah, I can do. So this is year 6 now of an apprenticeship.
Right.
The apprenticeship had officially finished, but year 6 was the Road Transport Institution, the RTITB, actually, Road Transport Institution Board. And that was a European qualification. In those days, the tachograph, I'm not sure whether you know what a tachograph is, the tachograph was coming in, right? So any European trucker effectively had to have a tachograph, and it recorded how many hours a driver would drive and where they would stop, how long for, etc. Because a driver could then drive officially 10 hours maximum, but before taking a rest of X number of hours. So that the road transport engineers, the institution rather, they govern that body. And our lecturers at college said, you know what, guys, get this qualification. You don't have to work. You don't have to do anything. Register your name. One of the companies will pay you a lot of money just to have your name on their paperwork, because they need people with qualifications to be associated and or on their payroll. So they will pay you to be on their board or on their wage roll, effectively, so you can sign off the paperwork for all the tachograph stuff. And I thought, oh, that sounds good stuff. Did that. We're heading towards the end of the year, and the lecturer says, you have to do a 3,000-word project to enter the exam. If you do not do that project, you cannot enter the exam. I thought, highly likely. Rock up there on the day, we'll do the exam and pass. I rocked up on the day without doing the project, and of course I was not allowed into the exam room because I hadn't completed my project. Failure. Failure number 2. So I failed. I couldn't take the exam, but it was good to learn a lot of stuff about European law and tachograph truckers and an industry I've never wanted to go in, never have been in, but just get a background on it.
Yeah.
Thereafter, so we're now into 1984. I thought where I was working, this sleepy little village garage, which wasn't quite sleepy. I'd got used to it. Everything was good. It was much better than what I ever imagined. But coming from a city background, it always seemed sleepy. I was running this place, and I was running the workshop. It's a very small outfit. There's only 3 of us, but I was controlling it. My boss would come in. I had the keys to the place, would do everything. And I just felt that I was undervalued. And I went to see him and I said, look, I need to have a rise. I need a rise. And he says, yeah, sure. He says, I understand exactly where you're coming from. And he says, I tell you what, just stand there a minute. And I didn't realize what he'd asked me to do. He said, just stand there a minute. I said, okay. I stood there. And we're on a vehicle lift. So he sent the lift up and he says, you got a rise. What more do you want?
I knew that was coming.
No, seriously, he did do that to me. We used to have a really good relationship. And he said, look, I don't mind giving you a rise. And he said, I can give you X. And we talked about it. And it was never enough. So to put it into context, when I started work, I was on £18 a week, right? Whilst all my Jaguar and local Ford and various other dealerships, Lada included. I had a friend at Lada who worked for Lada dealership. Those guys were on 35, 40 pound a week, and I was on 18 pounds. But
wow, okay.
To me, I went home and spoke to my mum and dad, and I said, look, this is the situation. They were both adamant, you can't ask for a rise. 18 pounds, if that's what your company pay you, you do the job, because that's what we do. That's what loyalty is. It's that one day they will look after you, or whenever it comes, right? You don't ask for any more money. They're teaching you something. You're paying to learn. You're learning your trade. And I always believed that, because my father, like I said, he'd served in the Indian Army. He'd come over here. He was a foundry worker. And not just my father, but my mother, who's always a housewife, but she's hardworking. The ethics that they brought me up with.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
The ethics they brought me up with was, you work hard. You don't question what you get paid. You get paid what you deserve.
Yeah.
And it was hard to take that, because on one side I'm hearing the noises from all my friends of what they're getting paid.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm hearing my family as to, you don't question what you get paid, because they're teaching
even just a happy medium, though, that you'd probably been at the time, you'd have been quite happy with, wouldn't you? So
and I sort of, we went back and forth with this wage rise, and in the end I said, look, Dave, I want to leave. And he said, why? And I said, because I'm not getting paid enough. I deserve more. I'm running the place. I'm doing everything. I'm here. Like, I'm here before you. I go home after you. I'm here 6 days a week, and I do everything you want me to do.
Yeah.
You've never heard any bad feedback about me, right? So I deserve more. And he said, look, I'll pay you, but, circumstances don't allow it. I told him, okay. So I thought about it, and I thought, okay, I went and got a local workshop. So the old filling station, if you can imagine a small filling station with like 2 pumps, at the back of it, there's this like what used to be called a lubrication bay. And I saw one in Coventry. I went to speak to the guy, and he says, yeah, I've got a workshop here. You can rent it. And I went and served my notice, and my boss, yeah. I said, David, here's, what do you want to put it in writing? I didn't know what to do, but I'd never done it before, whether you do it in writing, whether you just tell somebody you're leaving or what.
Yeah.
So I told him, and he says, yeah, we'll sort it out. Don't worry about it. We'll sort it out. So like 2 weeks go by, and I said, Dave, I'm leaving. I bought my car to put all my tools in. He said, what are you doing? I said, I'm going. I'm leaving. And he wouldn't believe me that I was leaving, but then he wouldn't let me put my tools away either. I'm going. I've finished. And you're not paying me, so I've got to go.
He's in denial, is what you're saying?
Yeah. And he was in denial. To be honest, I was heartbroken. I didn't want to go.
No. And how many years have you been there? You've been
So
there, what,
I've been there from 1979 to 1975. Sorry, 1985.
Yeah. So 6 years, yeah.
So it was just, it was gut wrenching, but I did leave that day. I came home and I cried.
Yeah.
It was gut wrenching, but there you go. So that's not the first time I cried. That won't be you know what? That won't be the last time.
You invested in that company. Yeah. You blood, sweat, and tears went into the job.
Yeah, it did.
And I think
I loved it. I loved it. You know what? I absolutely loved it, because they did treat me very well. Okay, they didn't pay me, but my work situation, the education, the learning, the upbringing, I couldn't have asked for any more than what those guys gave me there.
Yeah,
they were brilliant to me. And I left, so I set up this place in Coventry.
Yeah.
And it was totally different. I got to this on a Monday morning, arrived at this workshop, one single ramp, open the door, put the car on the ramp. You got like 6 foot in front of you, and I put a desk there.
Yeah.
And that was the whole thing. But I was used to, I'd come from it was like, the best way I can describe it is, in the Premier League, if you play for one of the top 6 clubs, and then you go and sign for Coventry City here, whom I love, by the way, whom I love. We went to Wembley last week, right? I'm a here. So when you come to Coventry, it's a different setup. You don't get the the Premier League treatment. You don't get a massage every 90 minutes and somebody carrying your boots and somebody washing your kit and pampering you onto the plane, I was going to say plane. They obviously play in the Champions League and things. Here at Coventry, we play in the championship, I should say, where you probably have to take your own car. So it's a different world. I arrived at this workshop and I thought, oh my God, there's no heating.
We've got a big up Cov from the Mod Scotsman there.
Exactly. I'd been to a workshop where heating was never a question, where everything worked and you had every piece of equipment I ever wanted. And I'd arrived into this backwater. But a week later, what happened was, I say a week later, I think it happened the same week. It's freezing cold. We've got 2 to 3 foot of snow on the ground. Been heavily snowing, and all the radio stations, the news channels, everything. Don't go out if you don't have to. Don't do this. Don't do that. Go to work. And it's about 10 o'clock, and this guy comes up to me and says, "Hey mate," he says, "My wagon's broken down the road. Can you come and help me?"
Yeah.
And I get there, and he's got
So you got the garage set up. You got the garage all set up at this point, yeah?
Well, I'd say all set up. It wasn't much to set up, to be honest. Like I said, it was one ramp, a toolbox, and got me
did you advertise? Was there a sign? I mean, what was the promotion of the business back then?
Well, okay. I don't know how in depth you want to go.
Add in the newspaper.
No. This is a classic. So you asked about the sign. I said to the chap, I said, "Can I put a sign up?" He says, "Yeah." So I looked around and I thought, where am I going to put a sign up on the road? And there's a lamppost right on the entrance to the garage.
Yeah, okay.
And I'd learned how to weld, MIG weld, TIG weld, arc weld, right? I thought, right. So I said to somebody I knew, I said, "You got an arc welder?" He says, "Yeah." I said, "Can I borrow it?" Yeah. I get out there, go onto the lamppost, put a ladder up against the lamppost, arc welded a bloody sign onto the lamppost.
Have you still got the sign?
I haven't. Oh, you know what?
Mate, that would be amazing, wouldn't it?
One of my biggest regrets is not having enough photos in my life.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah,
biggest regret. I can visualize things, I can see them, but I haven't got any evidence. Right? So arc welded a sign to this lamppost, triangular, got it hanging right, did it. So I didn't advertise because I'd built up a network of people who knew me locally, friends, family, usual stuff that you rely on. He can fix cars. If you need your car fixing, you can go to him.
So word of mouth. Yeah, cool. Yeah,
word of mouth. I'd built up a little clientele that I used to look after. I used to call it a Saturday club. So I'd finish work on a Friday, but on the Saturday I was allowed to use officially the workshop for my own benefit. So I used to do that. I used to take cars in there and repair them. So going back to this chap breaking down, he'd come down and I get there and he's got this Mercedes truck and it's diesel. Of course, the diesel's frozen. I'm out there trying to bleed this thing because it's got air in the system, trying to bleed it. And it was so cold, my hands were frozen. I was not used to this bloody thing. And I'm trying to undo the diesel pipes. And I thought, you know what? I literally just sat on the side of the road and cried. I cried and I thought, what have I done? This is like 3 days into the job and what have I done? I felt like, you know what? I should just go back. Honestly, I should just go back. I should call it a day because this is too cold and too hard. I'm not used to this. I'd been cosseted, literally. I'd been brought up very, very well. Like I say, in Premier League surroundings, right? And now here I was in non-league football and on the side of a road in bloody snow trying to fix a truck that I didn't have a clue about. I knew it was diesel. I know how to get it going, but it's not my thing. I'm used to sports cars and all the nice surroundings and the trimmings that go with it. I came home that day absolutely shattered and I thought I could do something else. This is just like day 3. So I go to see, how are we doing for time, by the way? I think I've taken half an hour.
We're fine. We're 25 minutes in.
So I went to see a friend that worked at the same garage and he was on the sales side and he'd been my friend from day one. I remember turning up to work without any sandwiches and he said, "Oh, do you want food?" And I said, I actually didn't bring any. He says, "Here's my sandwich, you can share it."
Yeah.
And I went to see him. I said, "Paul, you're home?" I called him up and he says, "Yeah." I said, "Can I come round?" And went round and says, "You know what, I think I made the biggest mistake of my life leaving. I shouldn't have done it." And He said, no, it'll be fine. And I said, you know what, I need help because I'm not going to make it like this. And he said, what do you want to do? And I said, I just want to go back to where I belong. I want to be dealing with sports cars, not bloody Mercedes trucks.
Yeah.
And he said, I'll see what I can do. So anyway, a few weeks later, he made a few phone calls and things. He said, look, he said, I know a Porsche dealer, they can get cars, and I can buy one of the trade cars and give it to you or something. And I said, oh, that sounds great. That sounds great. And I went to see him a few weeks. This by this time it's 6 or 9 months. I said, Paul, look, come and work with me because I can fix the cars, but I need you to buy the cars, right?
Yeah.
And I need to sell the cars. And I did the same thing with my brother. My brother used to be working for a body shop.
Yeah.
I said, look, you know what? My he's very bright, a lot brighter than I am, and he could do all the paperwork and documentation and invoicing and all that business, right?
Yeah.
Which I'd never done before. So I said, look, come and work with me because if you do take care of all the paperwork, I can fix the cars, Paul can buy the cars and sell the cars, and we've got a really good workshop.
Yeah, for sure.
So I convinced, I don't know how I did it, I convinced both of them to give up their bloody jobs, come with me on a ride of a lifetime.
You gave them hope, Lash. That's what it is.
So they come and join me. And Roger Clark cars, remember the Roger Clark, the racing driver? I don't know if you know, right?
Yeah, it rings a bell, yeah.
Right. You used to have Roger Clark cars in Leicester, Porsche dealers. And
right.
Paul used to buy off them and knew of them. So
he used to buy the Part X's.
So exactly. So he said to me, he said, I got an opportunity of buying a Porsche 924. I said, oh, great. Yeah, let's go and get it. What I didn't think of was, what are we going to buy it with? Peanuts. Got no money. So
get the buttons out. Yeah.
I said, how much is it? He said, £5,000, £4,000, £4,000. So I went home. I said, Paul, let me sort it. I went home and I said to Mum and Dad, I said, Mum, look, I've got this real good opportunity. We need to buy a car. We need to make it. We need to do this. And I must have started talking about 6, 7 o'clock in the evening. And by about 10 o'clock in the evening, I'd convinced them they're going to give me £4,000 the next day.
I thought you were in the fixing cars, not the selling cars.
No, I'd convinced them to give us £4,000.
Yeah.
Well, next day, I literally marched my mum down to the building society to draw this £4,000 out. I then give the £4,000 to Paul. Paul drives to Leicester.
Gun in her back. You know, gun in her back.
Drives to Leicester, goes to Roger Clark cars, and we buy their ex-service loan car, which is a Porsche 924.
Nice. Yeah.
We buy this car. He brings it back. I serviced it all up, got it all going. This is on the Tuesday. He bought the car.
Yeah.
On the Wednesday, we advertised the car. He took photographs. This is old school. You had to ring up the auto trader, say, I want to advertise a car. A man would call out with a Polaroid digital camera, take the photo of the car, and say, right, your car will be advertised on Friday.
You sure it was digital?
Well, actually, it wasn't digital. No, you're right.
What are you on about? We're in the 80s, mate. Come on.
Instamatic, sorry. Instamatic, not digital. It's digital now. So he gave us a photograph of the car and he says, right, that one's for you. That one's for the auto trader.
Yeah.
And in fact, he used to be called the Midlands Auto Trader then.
Okay.
It's regional. So you had Northern Auto Trader, Midlands Auto Trader, Southern Auto Trader, right? I don't know about the East and West, but anyway. Advertised the car. Serviced it up. I remember on the Friday, we polished it all up Friday morning. We're still polishing it.
What colour was it?
It was solid green. It was like avocado green.
Wowzers. What was the interior? What colour? Brown?
Tan. Yeah, tan.
Nice.
Right. So anyway, we get this car. We're still polishing it. The phone rings about 10 o'clock. And Paul's answering. He says, yeah, so I've got the 924, da-da-da. And the guy says, oh, I'm on my way. Then between 10 o'clock and about 2 o'clock, we must have had about 30 phone calls. One after the phone's non-stop ringing, non-stop ringing.
It's too cheap, mate. It's too cheap.
But we didn't know that then. We'd put it up at $5,000. So First person to come and see it about 4 o'clock, 4:30, says, I'm buying it, leaves a deposit. He says, I'll be around on Monday with the cash.
Yeah.
Sure enough, pound notes, takes the car. Oh, bingo. This is what we're doing. Because what we'd set our stall out was that we wanted to specialize in BMWs. We'd spoken about it with Paul. I said, you know what? I want to do 3 Series BMWs, because that back then, 1985, was the status symbol car, right? For a young person, up and coming.
Probably not even an E30, is it? That's more of a
no. Before that, E30. I'm not sure about the
E30s are from like E-Reg, so that's like 87, isn't it?
No,
so
before that.
Yeah. So what's the model?
316, 320s. That's what I was envisaging, right? Because
I know the one you mean. Yeah.
The reason why we're envisaging was that because in Coventry and the surrounding areas, there's only one BMW dealer, right?
Yeah.
And I thought that'd be a good captive market. What we'd never counted on was the nearest Porsche dealer was in Warwick, very small time.
Yeah.
And there were no other Porsche dealers, but Porsche was so aspirational then, way even more so than what we thought of. That one car proved to us we could do something. So we used the £4,000. We sold the car. I never gave the £4,000 to my mum and dad. I told them, I said, you know what? That worked out really well. Can we keep the money and can we do this again? But then the thing was we had to find the same car again.
Yeah, sure. Because you had all these buyers for it, right?
So,
yeah.
Just as we're trying to do that, the owner of the petrol station says, oh, lads, I've got some news for you. So what's that? He says, the petrol station is going to be knocked down as part of the new road planning scheme, which he knew when he let this. That's why the workshop was empty when he let it. Nobody let it, right? But we fell into that. Anyway, he says, you're going to be out in 3 months. Okay. So what we're going to do, panic, thinking, okay. And then Paul, who lived in a different part of the city, came into work the next day and he says, you know what? I was walking the dog last night and there's this place I've just walked past and it's for sale. Let's go and look at it. So we're going to look at this place and it's like the old Chelsea Mews setup. So you've got terraced housing, 2 gates in between. The gates open up. You go up a long entryway and you get to this oasis, shall we say. Just that it wasn't an oasis. It was an old gym that old muscle men did gym, right? Really beaten down. And I thought, how the hell is that going to make a workshop? But maybe it will. I don't know. We looked at it. It's £25,000. So go to the Lloyd's TSB bank manager, made an appointment who we're banking with. Me and my brother went in, told him what we want to do. And the gentleman said to us, his lads, he says, you're very talented. You've got qualifications. You've got a trade, right? Don't lose it. Don't give it up. Go and get a job because you ain't getting the money. And that was a story told to us again and again and again in the next sort of 10 days, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Eventually, we get to Yorkshire Bank.
Right.
And it's a recommendation of a friend who was in the construction industry. He said, oh, I know the bank manager there. I'll make you an appointment. Get there. Told him the story. He says, you know what, lads? He says, I think you got a story. He says, I think I'll back you. Gave us 25 grand to buy the premises.
Wow.
Within 3 months, we'd gone from having nothing but a rented workshop and £4,000 from my mum and dad to buying a place for 25 grand that we didn't have 2 pennies to rub together, but somebody saw some hope in us.
Yeah.
It was totally derelict. A gym. But it had big double gates so you could get a car through. So that was the story. We bought that, and then I've got to now go faster because I can see the time. So we bought the premises, totally derelict, and I have got odd bits of photos here. At the same time, I forgot to tell you, by the way, before we left the workshop and moved to the men's gym that we converted to marriage.
You took all the bits with you, right?
No, I got married as well. I got married. Oh, wow. I got married. So Charnjit, my wife, whom you've met.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I met her at college whilst I was doing my apprenticeship.
Right? Yeah.
I used to see her in the, as we used to then call it, the cafeteria, which is now called, I don't know, whatever you call it. But you used to see her at lunchtimes and break times, and I thought, oh, she's a pretty girl. I go and talk to her. It took me months to muster up enough courage to go and talk to her. We did, and I said to her, you know what, I really like you, da da da. We went out on a couple of dates, and I said, I can't date you anymore. I've got to ask you a question because I haven't got much time. I've got this garage, and gave the explanation. I said, I've got to get on with things. Will you marry me? So, roller coaster, boom, we get married as well in September of 1985. We move premises the following month. No, we moved premises that month. Yeah. We'll go married. She said, we can't go on a honeymoon because we've got no money, right? I need to do the business, but you can come and help me and we can spend time together. So that was a problem.
The honeymoon was getting the garage ready. I like this.
Yeah, and she did, because I got a photograph of her.
Take this back to my wife, see what she thinks.
I got a photograph of her and me welding the stairs to the second story on this thing.
Brilliant.
On a Sunday. We used to work 7 days a week, 5-6 days a week in the workshop. The seventh day was spent. We converted all of upstairs to 2 luxury apartments to rent them out to get the money in so we could afford to do downstairs.
Nice work. Nice work. I love it.
We did that. We built an office and I put a shower in there. She says, why are you putting a shower in there? I says, because then I can be clean by the time I come home. Not that I ever use the shower, but I put it in there. Right. And then it was like under an archway, and there was one little, literally a cubby hole bigger than the study I'm in now. And I got a friend of mine, a friend of Paul's actually, who used to work with us. And he says, I'm going through a terrible time, marriage breakup, da da da. I said, you know, just the place for you, but I need to convert it. We showed him this box room. He says, yeah, I like that. So we converted that and put him in there, Steve, and he paid the rent, and it was great because we had now got 3 apartments rented out that were paying the wages, that effectively was covering the overheads, but that allowed us to build downstairs. And we built downstairs.
Brilliant.
A lovely, honestly, back in the day, I painted the red, black, and yellow stripes all the way around. I had a friend of mine who was a building engineer, and got him to put a tripod out with a laser line. Back in 1985, a laser line didn't exist, right? But he had the tool for it. I can't remember what you call it now. But he lined everything up. We masked it off, and I painted the lines myself. The German 3 lines all the way. We created a part of it as a showroom where we could park 4 cars, part of it as a workshop, and a part of it as a long-term engine / rebuilding bay for long-term projects. And we really got that place going. At some stage, we used to have more Porsche lined up down the drive, up the drive, in the drive, on the road, right? And residents would be complaining, saying, oh, you can't park your car here. And I just say, look, mate, you know what? Go and park your car in the next road. I'll give you £5. You just go and park your car over there. We need to, on a Saturday morning, because I wanted customers to come to us, and we'd have like 20 cars for sale. Yeah. Right. It's 1985, 86, 87 time when those numbers didn't exist at Porsche.
No,
right?
No.
And we rocked it. That enabled us to sell those premises, and we bought the next place, which was an old fire station, converted to a car workshop, but the man had literally neglected it. And I got to know him just because I lived nearby, and I started seeing him. I said, look, you know, you're doing this. I can see you and your wife are struggling with this. Do you want to sell it? Do you want to sell it? And he milked it. We wanted it. We paid him over the odds for the place, but we bought it freehold. We sold our place, bought the next one, and things were unbelievable. And I mean, when I say unbelievable, we could not supply cars fast enough. We would advertise a car. There would be a queue of people outside the premises at 7 o'clock in the morning to buy a Porsche. Can you believe that?
Wow.
I'll give you more than one example, but the best example I can give you, this person, 3 times he came to us to buy a car. And every time he'd get there, the car would be sold. He'd say, what have I got to do to buy a car from you guys? Right? I just want a car.
Just leave your deposit.
No, we said that, right? And he says, I will. He said, in those days, to be honest, the transactional thing was a bit different to what it is.
Yeah, sure,
right?
Sure.
Today we're all used to buying online. In those days, it's still see, feel, touch, drive.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I said to him, I said, you know what? What we can do is we'll ring you to tell you the next car's coming in, and you make sure you're here. We rang him to say we're getting this Porsche 911 in tomorrow. So imagine ringing him in about 4 o'clock today and tell him I'm getting the car tomorrow.
Yeah.
He said, okay. He said, I'll be there. So Paul went on a train to Wales to pick the car up from Merlin's in Cardiff to bring it back to us.
Mm.
The guy, after we phoned him, he came to our forecourt. The pub was next door. Yet in the pub, he slept in his car. He was there when we got to work in the morning, and he says, I've been here all night because I'm not going to miss that car. Paul didn't come back until bloody 3:30 in the afternoon. And he was there. He said, I'm buying this car. That's one example. Another one, we used to open 7 days a week then, but I think this happened more than once. But one example was on a Sunday. I was in by myself, and a guy walks in, 928 Porsche, and he says, oh, can I have a look at that car? Yeah, can I test drive it? So I locked up, took him out for a test drive, come back. And he said, I want to buy the car. I said, yeah, okay, it's £5,000. You're going to leave a deposit? He said, no, he's still got the money here, pound notes. And I sat there, locked all the doors to count the money, £25,000 in cash. Right? Another time, a chap come up, and as soon as he walked in, he's like really well suited and booted. I said to Paul, I said, Paul, he's buying a car, mate. He said, how do you know? I said, I can see the briefcase in his hand. He ain't letting that go. In the briefcase was 30 grand cash. You don't get those things now. It's a different world, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's how it used to work. So these cars were selling out faster and faster than we could get them. It was unbelievable. Great. 1990, Christmas Eve, we're flying. We've got new plans for the workshop. We've got £100,000 project at the back. We've got staff. We've got parts. We are now the original Porsche specialists, sales, service, parts. The best thing to the main dealer.
Yeah.
Everything's flying. Go home, Christmas Eve, 1990. Fantastic. Come to work, 1991. The world has crashed. The financial impact of a complete recession overnight. The yuppie era, dead and buried. Right? It was a nightmare. We couldn't sell cars. We couldn't move cars. Cars we were committed to. Yeah. We had to bail out. I remember taking 12 cars to BCA auction to bail out of them. We blew a fortune.
Wow.
Blew a fortune. Meanwhile, because we'd signed contracts for the workshop, we were under pressure to pay the structural engineers off, the metal people, the cladding, the roof. It got to a point, as soon as we put the structure up, there was no work to do because nobody was bringing in cars. We used to put our overalls on. Guys, come on, let's dig the foundations. We get a spade and dug the foundations for the workshop. Physically, manually, by hand.
Wow. Yeah.
Right? Filling up skips, wheelbarrow, humping it. We did all that by hand. Right? And when the guys came to put the framework up, said, can we join in with you to reduce the price that you pay? And we were on scaffolds and all sorts of nut and bolt screwing, spannering, all the steel work together, helping them clad. We did all that. And then once the workshop was built, this is 1992, 93 then. So we're coming out of the recession, and I started doing deals with people saying, you know what, if I service your car for the next 3 years, will you put the concrete in on the floor? Because you're concreting it, right? Yeah, I do that. Oh, if I do your car, if we do this, can you do the wiring? Can you do this? Can you do that? We did deals on everything to get it, right?
Yeah, trading. Why not?
Yeah, but to be honest, some of the people, we looked after them for years and years and years after, because they were so good to us.
Yeah,
doing the job when we needed it to help us to progress, right? So we built the business up, come out of the recession, we're rocking again, everything's going well. And then my dream was to sell up and go to some sunny island or do a little bit of trading and live the easy life.
Yeah.
I get the golden opportunity gifted to me. In fact, I've cut a bit short, actually. I'll go back a step. 97, 98, the euro, whenever the euro was introduced, a lot of the businesses over here or people who could see the foresight thought, hang on, the cars in Europe are a lot cheaper. The rate of the euro makes them even half price. We bring them over here, we sell them at X amount off. So a lot of people were bringing in European cars and selling them cheap. And Virgin, Richard Branson did that, Virgin Cars.
Okay.
So Roger Atkins, that's where he worked, right? He did exactly the same thing. He was setting up that.
All left hookers, I'm guessing.
No, right-hand drive from Europe. Right-hand drive.
Really?
You could go to Germany. In those days, you can order a right-hand car
from any. Back in the day where you could buy a new right-hand drive and then bring it? Yes,
you order it.
Yeah, I do remember that.
You say, I want a right-hand drive car for England, and they'd build you a car.
Yeah.
That's it. So I saw that and I thought, you know what? I want a bit of that because there's like a 2-3 year waiting list for a Porsche over here. If I could bring it over, and I did all my sums, yeah, this is a good idea. Bit of research. I thought, I'm not going to go small time because I can't risk it. I'll go to the biggest Porsche dealers in at the time in Europe, i.e. Hamburg, Germany. Go over there. I said, I want to buy a Porsche, and they sort of laughed at me. I said, no, communicate. You speak English. I want to buy a Porsche. I'm from England. Couldn't get any sense out of him anyway. Come back. And then I see an advert in the Sunday Times. There's an Irish dentist who's buying BMWs in Hamburg because he lives there and putting them in the Sunday Times and selling them. So I rang him up. I said, are you based in Germany or are you based in Ireland? He said, oh, I'm based in Hamburg. He says, I am Irish. He says, I'm a dentist by trade. He says, I love it. I live here and I love cars. And that's what I do. Is make more money out of cars than I make out of teeth. Oh, okay. I said, come and see you. He says, yeah. Booked a flight. He picked me up from the airport. We'll go for a coffee. I said, I want to buy some Porsche. He said, yeah. And we go to the same dealer that I've been to. So we go to the same dealer. And he says, this is a friend of mine. He wants to buy cars. And the guy sort of looked at me and thought, I know you. I've seen you just a few weeks ago. I looked at him and anyway, he speaks in German, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, great. He said, how many cars do you want to order? And I thought, I'll order 3. And he says, 3 cars? Yeah. Do the paperwork. I thought, holy shit. 3 cars, 60 grand a go. Holy. I was like, oh my God, I'm crapping bricks. He's filled out all this paperwork. He said, deposit? I said, yeah. I said, I just need to make a phone call. So I go out and I said to this chap, I said, I need to make a phone call. He said, oh, yeah, use my phone. He had a mobile phone. Oh, we weren't well off. So ring back home to base and I said, Charnjit, I've just bought 3 cars and need to pay deposits. So what have you done? 3 cars, deposit. And I was like, oh my God. I said, I can't let them down. We've got to pay the deposit now. Yeah. And in those days, it wasn't a money transfer like we do now. Yeah. So she had to physically travel to our bank, to NatWest, to speak to the bank manager, to get him to do the transfer there and then, to send a fax to the company. This took all bloody day, all day. But we paid deposits. Anyway, back I come to England, advertise the cars. 9 months later, the car's going to turn up. So I advertised the car 6 weeks earlier. I said, silver 911 Carrera 2. And bugger me, we sell the car on a deposit before we've even got it. Yeah. Right? Man travels from Leeds, leaves a deposit. He said, you are getting this car. I said, look at the setup. Do you think I want to go away? Do you think we're losing? What was sort of margin that you had on it? At the time, I think it's about £3,500–4,000, which is a lot of money. Yeah. Right? A lot of money, clean. When I say clean, no warranty, no comeback, no nothing, no part exchange. Yeah. So anyway, we sell the car. Man turns up, car turns up. I thought, wow, this is what we want to do. This is the game. Next car comes, same scenario. Next car comes. I go back to Rafael, to my dentist man. I said, mate, order me 5 cars. Order me 10 cars. Order me 15 cars. Whoa, okay. And we're doing this, and it's going. Wowzers. Now we're on the way. Then, this is the ointment in the eye sort of thing, that all this is going well. We get approached by Ducati motorcycles. Yeah. Right? Local guy in Coventry who's who's been building Ducati race engines in his shed, who happens to be a friend of my brother's who goes to school with him back in the day.
Yeah.
John Hackett. He rocks up one Saturday and he says, he knows my brother. And he says, oh, is Nim about? Yeah, yeah. And he says, Nim, he says, I want to buy your place. He says, oh, you got to talk to my brother. So he pressured me. He says, I want to buy your place. And I thought, this is it. You know, like the Holy Grail.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm going in here, pay me loads of money for the premises, freehold. We'll cash the stock in. We'll go home. I'll buy a big house, trade a couple of cars, have the easy life, spend half my life in Spain and anywhere else I want to.
Yeah, yeah.
Happy days. I agree the deal with him. He goes away. And this sort of carries on, nothing happening. This heading towards Christmas Eve, 2000 it would have been, so 2001. No, 2001, 2002. I'm driving back from Leeds after picking the car up, and John rings me on a Friday night. He says, mate, you know, what about the premises? So, John, where's your money, mate? No money, no premises, you know, simple.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I'm buying it. Don't let it go. I said, John, if the money's not in the bank, this is a Friday night. I says, the money is not in the bank on Monday, I'm not selling the premises anymore because you've been piddling around for a year now. Right?
Yeah.
You'd rather find the money or not. So I put the phone down, think nothing of it. Monday morning, I carry on with work. Next thing I get a phone call from our solicitors, who, again, I know him personally because he's got a Porsche. He says, we've just had £25,000 deposit for your premises. Is that to us, or is that what's going on? I thought, flipping hell. He sent the money. He sent a deposit, non-refundable deposit. He's buying it. I said, oh, yeah. Okay, we're not selling the premises. So that happens. We sell the premises, tell my brother and Paul, who's the two people I've worked with all my life. I said, look, guys, I've agreed a deal and we're selling it and the money's coming in and we're all going home happy. I'll look after you guys, but that's the end of the road for us, you know. They didn't talk to me for about 2-3 weeks. We used to go into work and sort of morning, yeah, and you'd never hear a word. I didn't talk to them. I tried talking to them, but they wouldn't talk to me. So this carries on for a couple of weeks. And I said, look, guys, I know there's a problem. Let's talk about it. What's the problem? I said, oh, you know, you shit on us. You've done this, you've done that. And I said, I haven't done that. I said, look, I've taken a bigger view. You know the journey we've taken to get here, and it's hard enough. And I think we ought to call it a day, but I'm not going to call it a day. If you guys want to still work with me, we'll trade a few cars. We'll all lead an easy life. Okay? A few weeks go by. And the deal's getting closer and closer. It's happening. They're saying, oh, you're moving out on Good Friday. We'll start signature the day before. Good Friday, we want vacant premises. Okay, no problem. By this time, it's about literally 3 weeks to go.
Yep.
I said, okay. No, not 3 weeks, about 6 weeks to go. I said, okay. So I tell Paul and Nim, I said, look, guys, you know, we've got to face reality. This is the end of the road sort of thing. And they said, it's not actually. I said, what do you mean? So, well, we've seen this site on the A45. It's the ex-Tom Walkinshaw site, right? And we want you to take you there. So we literally get in a car. We go there. This site is boarded up. It's derelict. It's got no windows.
A45, do you say?
On the A45, which is next to opposite the Windmill Hotel, next door to the Windmill Hotel, right? Which is our camper place, camper van place.
Right.
After, in between Listers and Jaguar Land Rover.
Okay.
Anyway, we get there. It's totally derelict. I have a look around in the dark with a torch. It's smashed to smithereens. And I said, yeah. And they said, well, we want to buy this place and turn it into Autobahn. Yeah, okay. I said, let's talk about it tomorrow in the daylight. We'll go up again tomorrow morning, look at it in the daylight, and away we go. I ring up the estate agent. They said, oh, yeah, that site, it's available. I said, how much is it? Oh, it's £1 million. I said, nah, it's not £1 million.
No, it's not.
I said, one offer, today only, 1 hour only, I want an answer, is 500 grand. They said, oh, no, 750. I said, no, I've sold my premises. I've sold them for 500 grand. I have 500 grand. If you want 500 grand, I'll give you 500 grand. That's it. Finished. Phone rings an hour later. We'll take you 500 grand. Bloody hell. Okay. I said, what do? They said, well, got to pay the money. So I put the solicitors in touch with these people. I said, this is what we're going to do. Great. Monday morning, this is on Thursday, I think, or Wednesday. Monday morning, lawyer rings me and said, fantastic news. You guys have signed. They're buying the premises. Bad news. You're not buying the premises. Tom Walkinshaw Racing went into liquidation on Friday night.
Sorry. Say that again. What?
The premises we were selling, we'd got the money in for.
Oh,
the premises we were buying, Tom Walkinshaw Racing had gone into administration on the Friday night.
Wowzers. Right.
And the solicitors hadn't completed the transaction. So we're now out of our premises, but got nowhere to go to. And the 500 grand is somewhere in the ether between the two solicitors, ours and Tom Walkinshaw's.
Yeah.
I am absolutely more than crapping bricks. I ring my accountant up and says, look, Helen, you've got to help me. This is what's happened, blah, blah, blah. She's right over. I said, look, let's go and see the lawyer. We get to the lawyer's office in Coventry. I said, you know what? Ring them now. What's in your office? I want to know. The administrators say, you've done an underhanded deal. The premises are up for sale for £1 million. How did you buy them for 500,000? You've paid money to the agent to get it half price. I don't even know the agent. I spoke to him on the phone. We have this hour-long conversation on the phone. Three of us in our office. One of them, eventually, our lawyer and the accountant convince them to say, meet face to face. We have the money. We can complete the transaction today. So we traveled to Bristol in a car to go and see these people, sit in their office, and at 6 o'clock that night, the deal is completed. I've signed for it. As they say, wet signature. I'm in their office with a pen, signing the bloody deal. And we bought the premises from the administrators. That was the easy bit. Then it was haul ass. I got local builders. I said, I want this. And to my amazement, they delivered. Good Friday that year, we moved into those premises. They weren't quite complete, but complete enough that we took our car stock up there. Paul was saying, "Oh my God, he's completely lost the plot." I said, "Paul."
So just to kind of give myself and everyone else an idea of what's the size difference of these premises. Right. So how many cars? Right. How many cars could you put for sale on the original place? How many cars could you put for sale on the new place?
So the original place, we had 12 cars inside.
Yeah.
And workshop space. Right. During the day you could park something on the front, but put it back.
Decent size then, yeah.
The new size, 1.5 acres, showroom for 25 cars, parking outside for 75 cars, a yard to stock 50 cars, and a workshop that would take 25 cars.
Flipping heck, Jesus. Yeah. Okay, that's massive.
This is a leap of faith. This is like going from
what garage was it? What garage was it before you purchased it?
Tom Walkinshaw Racing Jaguar.
Oh, it was the Jaguar. Okay,
Jaguar dealership. It was Coventry Jaguar dealership. So we get there, and Paul is absolutely panicking. I said, Paul, you know what we're going to do? And we'd made the plan the night before. I said, tomorrow morning, we're all going to come into work at 7 o'clock at the old site.
Yeah.
We're going to take all the cars, driving them, right? So I'd got a team of like 5 or 6 people lined up. So we'd take 5 cars, bring back 6 people, take 5 cars, bring back. So I said, we'll get all the cars up there and park the cars. And he said, oh, yeah, but what? I said, Paul, all I want you to do is to sit in the office and make sure you do the car sales. That's your thing. You sit there doing the car sales. We will ship all the stuff. And I've got a series of like vans lined up, pickups and vans to move stuff. Whilst we were doing this, we're de-shelving, racking, stacking, and all the stuff out of the workshop, tires, parts, the workshop equipment, tools, everything. Taking them all over one at a time, one van. By the end of the day, we're absolutely knackered. It's like 6 o'clock at night. We've shifted all this stuff, physically manhandled stuff. on and off the vans, put it there. And I said, you know what, guys, that'll do. It's Paul, how have you got on? He's just sold 5 cars. Five cars
in one day.
In one day. In a place that nobody even knew we were going to. We'd never advertised it. We'd never told anybody. We'd never said in.
Brilliant.
Right? And I tell you what, that night we were so shattered. I said, Paul, I'm going to go home for a shower. We're all going to go home for a shower. Meet you 1 hour. We'll go to the pub. We had a few beers because it was just such a brilliant day.
Yeah.
It was such a brilliant day. And that, really, we could do a part 2 to this because there's still a big story to be told.
Hey, I'm happy just to keep going, mate. I'm happy to keep going.
If you're
let me grab a drink, though.
Yeah.
Do you want to grab a drink?
Same here. I want to grab a drink as well.
There we go. Right, let's just grab a drink.
Okay.
I've got some very interesting drinks, actually, from the co-op. I got a Singer beer because I was talking about Thailand and my travels in Southeast Asia today, which took me back. Amazing. Many years ago. I think it was 15, 13, 17 years ago. Can't be that long. It was a long time ago. Yeah, 15 odd years ago. But yeah, so a Singer beer I had and got a couple of random drinks here. Elderflower gin spritz and strawberry daiquiri. The strawberry daiquiri, I've never had one. So yeah. But if anyone's, it's good to see that everyone, we've got a few people still watching. I wasn't envisioning that Lash was going to go into this depth. And I'm really enjoying this story, I must admit. And I want to know the full story. So strap in, everyone. Lash, we could argue this is part 2. Let's crack on.
I apologize to everyone who's listening. I'm sorry the story is so long.
Don't apologize. I'm loving this story, Lash. Genuinely, this is brilliant.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep it as brief as I can. Believe me, there's a lot more. So we get there and we've got this wonderful day. I mean, it's arguably what if you could have a perfect day.
Yeah,
that was it.
Right.
To move premises into a site 3, 4, 5 times the size of what we were going from, to physically be exhausted, to be so high on the fact that you've just got there and you sold 5 cars in one day. This was a record for us. We'd never sold 5 cars in a day.
Oh, really? Okay. Winner. Nice.
Even on a good day, I think 3 was the maximum we'd ever done.
Yeah. What a great start. Yeah.
This was unbelievable. So I thought, okay, wow. The next few months was just, it was full on. I'm a massive football fan and I relate everything to football. This is like coming out of, as I say, a League 1, a League 2 position, going to a top 6 club. And every game is a big game. Every day is a big day. And I used to actually use that phrase in my mind. You know what? Today's a big day. I'd leave home thinking, take a deep breath before I get in the car and think, yeah, today's a big day.
Living the dream.
Honestly, it was living the dream. I'd turn up there and some days, or most days, I'd be at work for about 5:30, 6 o'clock. But some days I'd go in about 4 o'clock. And I'd just sit in the car and look at the place and think, this is, you're in the theatre of dreams. This is where really now it's not a dream anymore, it's reality. Yeah. And it was incredible, the journey that we went on, because the import scenario that I was telling you about, the cars, that just took hold completely. We were bringing in 100 cars a year.
Wow. Okay. It was like, how many years did it go on for? Because it didn't.
Oh, so this is what I was about to say, that each year you thought, we can't bring in any more.
Yeah. It's going to dry up. Yeah.
And we did, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, like I said, relating to football terms, the Manchester City documentaries on Netflix recently, and I've been watching that. And when Pep Guardiola's there and the players are there saying, you know what, we've just done the treble last year, I want to do this again. Yeah. And you just have it in you and you think, I can do this. and I can do it bigger, and I can do it better, and I can do it with more style, more panache. And that's the level that we were playing at. We were literally, in Man City terms, we were annihilating the opposition.
Yeah.
The local Porsche centres we had a love-to-hate relationship with. They loved it when we were buying parts off them, because in a year we'd buy 100 to 200,000 pounds worth of parts off them alone, right? For the service side.
Yeah.
We would buy their part exchanges, but they absolutely hated it when we were selling brand new cars. And
did you? I need to know this. Did they have a worse warranty then? Was it still a warranty? Was it manufacturer's warranty still valid on them?
Yeah, it still is today, and it was then.
Wow.
Just that back in the day, the feedback we'd get a customer coming into the showroom, and he'd say, "I want that 911 turbo. Oh, you've got a white one. I want a black one." And we'd say, "Well, we've only got a white one, but it's physical, because if you want one from the local dealers, you're gonna have to queue up and wait for 18 months, 2 years."
Yeah.
No, I'd chance it. So go and do the rounds, go and have a look round, come back and say, "Actually, I'll buy your white car, but the dealer said to me, your car's produced on Friday, it's got no underseal. The dealer said to me, your cars are welded together. The dealer said to me, they fell off the track. The dealer said to me," and you think, I used to say to him, and the sales guys as well, I said, if you believe what the dealer says, the best thing you can do is go to the dealer and buy the car. You still sell the car, and we'd sell it with a special warranty, because again, the dealers, their cars are imports, they're not going to be worth anything, they're going to be worth less money, right?
Yeah.
So we would say then, and we used to do this in writing, give them a buyback guarantee. Say, whenever you want to sell this car, we guarantee we will buy this car off you at the current trade value, market value.
Nice.
And that was one of the best things we ever did, because we created our own market. We created our own market.
And that assurance, isn't it?
Then what would happen, once this word sort of spread and it got around the UK, Autobahn are doing this, Autobahn. Whenever somebody in Edinburgh, Leeds, Southampton, wherever, a Porsche dealer got a part exchange, and it was an imported car, not even one that we sold, but an imported car.
Yeah, they think of you.
You buy imported cars. We've got this car. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Bring it on.
Nice. What about Porsche UK? Did they have anything to say about it?
Yes and no. When we first got there, and it caused a bit of a ruckus when we got to the new premises, and all of a sudden, if you ever saw the premises, and I can send you some photos of brochures and things that we got left over that I've kept. If you ever saw the premises, to all intents and purposes, we looked, felt, and were just like an official dealership. The only difference was we didn't have the arrogance. If you turned up in your hoodie, we'd still think, you know what, that Tim, he looks all right with his hoodie. He's a normal person, and he's our customer. Whereas most dealerships, if you turned up with your hoodie, they'd look at you and think, nah, he's not wearing a Hugo Boss suit or a Rolex, and he hasn't got the nice shoes on. He's not our customer. He hasn't got any money. We'll even get up and say hello.
I can't believe that we've been talking on the live for an hour and 8 minutes, and I swear to God, we've not even mentioned. This is the first time I'm going to say electric car.
Well, we haven't got that yet. I've still got a story. Still got 19 years to tell you about. Anyway, so roll forward, 2012. We've survived the financial crash.
Wow. Yeah, because that was 2000. Because that's what got me back into the motor trade. 2009, wasn't it?
Yeah, 2008, 2009.
Yeah. I fell back into the motor trade then.
Yeah, we definitely will have to have an intermediate part for this, but let's jump to 2012. So what happened between 2008, 9 and 12 was that we'd overcome the recession. We were making money and life was good. To be honest, I had no complaints. Porsche gave me a fantastic lifestyle, not just me, my family, all of the employees that work for us, everybody had a really nice lifestyle. We worked damn hard for it. We earned the right, but we had a great lifestyle. So 2012, our daughter, then 12 years of age, we go to a parents' evening at school, just like any ordinary family. And we get there and blah, blah, blah. At the end of the night, the headmaster makes a speech, and he says, Now, he talks to the children and he says, I want to talk to the parents. I want to address the parents and say, you have got to think about your children and think about their futures. Don't make decisions to let them take the subjects they want to take today. Ask them where they want to be. Ask yourselves where you want them to be when they grow up. When they go to university, what are they going to study? Or what is the line of work that they want to go into? What are they going to study at university? What are they going to study in sixth form? What are they going to do for their GCSEs? And that's where it's leading to. What choices do you make for your GCSEs? Right? What subjects are you going to choose? The choice shouldn't be, I like art today, so I think I'll choose art, because you may never become an artist at the end of all of this. Right? Or music, or whatever it may be. It resonated. It's a bit deep, really. It's a bit deeper that age, you think, but he was addressing the parents, and it sort of resonated, and I thought nothing of it. Well, thought something of it, but I didn't think that I needed to pay that in-depth attention to the whole thing. Roll on a few weeks, and Davina comes home, says, oh, Dad, I know what I want to be. I want to be a dentist, and I want to be a nurse, and I want to be a teacher, and I want to be a this and a lawyer. Every week it'd be or every other week it'd be a different I want to be. And I'd listen to it all and say, yeah, sure, that's a good idea, let's go with that. About 2 months later or something like that, she comes home one day, she says, Dad, I got it. I said, what's that? I want to study sustainability when I go to university.
Wow. What year was this? 2012, 2013?
So I thought,
wow. Okay. Yeah.
Sustainability. Yeah, sure.
What's sustainability? Back then.
Yeah. Let's go with that. Davina, that's a really good idea. Let's go with that. Which is what I say to her every time she'd come out with something. That's a good idea. Let's go with that. So yeah. And I thought zero of that conversation, to be honest. It was like, you're doing the dutiful parental thing, listening to her, come home, and nothing. Another couple of months go by. She says, oh, Dad, they got a sample lecture at Warwick University. They got a sample lecture. I said, what day is it? He said, Saturday. And I thought, oh, great. Don't have to take any time off work. Saturday. I said, that's good. I said, we'll go up to that. That sounds good. 10 o'clock, no problem. Oh, great. Nice timing on a Saturday morning. We'll roll up to Warwick University, which is a mile up the road from where we live.
Yeah.
Saturday morning. We go to the lecture hall, and I'm just sitting there on the phone thinking, oh, great. Right, guys, what we got? Who's coming in, and concentrating on what the guys have got to do and who's coming in and what cars we're going to sell. Yeah. And the lecture starts, and I'm honestly still on the phone. They said, oh, turn your phones off, turn them on silent. And I turn them on silent. And I'm on the phone, and I'm thinking, yeah. The lecture starts, and I get it in my ear. It says, when the ocean levels rise in the world, the first place underwater will be New Jersey. And that's what, really? I didn't know that. I've got the phone in my hand, so I've slipped the phone in my pocket. I thought, I think I listened to this. I've sort of taken a bit of an interest in this.
Yeah.
Did you know that 40,000 people die from air pollution in the UK every year? Air pollution. What's that? And now you've got my attention now. Really? And they go on and they're giving you more and more facts and figures. And I think, this is really good. And before I know it, we started at 10 o'clock. Before I know it, it's 1 o'clock. I'm not hungry. I'm not thirsty. I haven't taken any phone calls. I'm just absolutely focused. And I mean focused of soaking in everything they're saying. This is really interesting. The lecture finished, and I thought, wow, is that it? I would like give us some more.
Yeah.
And people disperse, and a sort of group, 10, 12 people hang about, and we go down to the bottom and speak to the lecturer. And I think, you know what, that was fantastic. I didn't know any of this. I didn't even know it existed. And they said, oh yeah. And Davina says, oh, I'm really into this. Blah, 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 blah. And I thought, this is so good. We come home. I said, Davina, when's the next? Is this it, or is something? What happens next? She says, oh no, there's more. So she comes home the next week. I'm going to find out some more information. You can go to a number of universities And so she finds out we've got Birmingham, Glasgow, Bath Bath, no, not Bath, somewhere in London. It's kind of thing of the university, and then Southampton's the last one. So we went 5 universities. I said to her, I said, book them all. She said, what, you want to go to Glasgow? I said, yeah. We drove to Glasgow because I wanted to go to this lecture. I went to every single lecture. I wanted to find out about it.
Yeah.
And the other one we didn't sit in, she didn't like Birmingham. As soon as we got there, she said, I don't like the university. I don't like the university. And we sort of sat there for 2 minutes. I don't like this. We didn't sit in that one.
Yeah.
All the universities, we sat for the full lecture.
Yeah.
Right. We had a tour of the university. We did this, we did that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. The last one, Southampton, was so interesting because they went into the whole spiel. Yeah. And then they said, oh, we're doing these projects in South Africa and the students will be able to go to South Africa and they can have co-learning, they can do this. And Davina had been to South Africa for her Duke of Edinburgh. And she said,
oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, she said, I've been to South Africa. I did the 40-mile walk with a backpack and I went here, there, and the lecturer was like, wow, you've got to come here. We'll give you a bursary. We'll pay you to come to Southampton.
Oh, wow. Brilliant. Right? Yeah.
But then she said, we'll pay you. Now, all of these universities, what I didn't know was nobody actually ran a sustainability course. They were all sample lectures to gauge student interaction or evaluation of commerciality of how many students would come, how much money they'd make, and whether it's viable for them to run the course.
Right.
But Southampton had made their mind up. They were running it. That's why they were already offering her a bursary.
Nice. Yeah.
They even wrote to us afterwards saying, we'll pay you £10,000, right, per year for her to go there. Amazing. So I said to her, Davina, it's not about the money. You choose where you want. She said, I want to go to Warwick. That was her like dream. I've got to go to Warwick.
Yeah.
So she takes her exams and then she goes interrailing to Italy. This is winding on a few years, but she goes into to Italy interrailing. And the day she comes back, we pick her up from the train station and the school is the other side of the road. She says, oh, pick me up from the school. I'm going to run to the school. I've got to get my exam results. We get there and she didn't get in. Warwick. They said, you haven't been reserved a place. And she's gutted. She's crying. We talk to the teacher. The teacher says, hang on, let me ring them. Because just because they say no doesn't mean no.
Yeah.
She's on the phone. She's off the phone. She's talking to us. She's talking to them. 3 hours later, they said, you stay here. We need to take Davina over there. This is across the road at the school. And they go over there. They get the headmaster on. All this is happening. We'd picked her up at 11 o'clock. I said, pick her up. We went to pick her up at 11 o'clock. It's now 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And Warwick has said, we want to see Davina in person to stay in care.
Okay.
And 2 weeks later, she goes there in person. Cut a long story short, she gets in. Nice. And that was brilliant. In between that, going back a step to her university, to sample lectures. We go to sample lectures. On the way back from Southampton, the last lecture, last university we get to, we're in the car, and this thing has just been building up in my mind, in Charnjit's mind, in Davina's mind, and we get in the car, and it's a 2-hour journey back to home.
Yeah.
And all that Charnjit and I did was talk about we can't sell Porsche anymore. We can't sell gas guzzling and diesel guzzling cars.
Yeah.
Not going to do it anymore.
Because of course Porsche did have diesel cars then, didn't they?
They were petrol and diesel. So we spoke about that, and we spoke about it for 2 hours. We got home, literally had our tea, went to bed.
So it's both you and your wife were at the sessions and stuff.
Yeah, everything we did together. We then spoke about it all day Sunday, went to work Monday, and I don't know, Monday felt weird going to work.
Right. Like your heart wasn't in it sort of thing.
You've taken the words out of my mouth. For the first time, I didn't feel right about going into work. I didn't feel good. I always used to feel good. That's one of my things. I used to step out the front door, I think I get the 911 or the KN or whatever, and you instantly, poof, you're focused, you're on it, and the world's your oyster. You know, today's a brand new day. You can go and conquer the world.
Yeah.
I didn't feel that day. I honestly didn't feel it. I got to work. First couple of hours, to be honest, just a blurb, and then about 10 o'clock I said, guys, I said to Paul, let's get a cup of tea, and I said, let's call a meeting. I called everybody together, and I said, don't know really how to say this, but I'm not going to do this anymore. I think we're not going to do this anymore. And they also looked at me, this silence, and you could just feel like a pin drop. And people thought, has he been smoking something? Is he on drugs? Is he taking a turn for the worse? What's happened? I said, I just don't want to do this anymore. I don't think we can do it. And I explained the reasons why.
Yeah.
Very briefly. And I said, please don't worry about your jobs. Please don't worry about anything. We'll sort it out. But it's just something I need to let you know.
Yeah.
And then the next 2, 4, 6 weeks were just a nightmare at work, because everybody's second guessing, second planning what's happened. Is it money worries? Is it drug problems? Is it family problems? Splitting up? Am I dying? Have I got cancer? Is the world coming to an end?
Oh wow! Okay, yeah.
What's happening? Because the whole team, what I've got to remind everybody is, everybody that worked for us, we were probably
like a family, I suppose, right?
Yeah, more than a family, because anybody who came to work for us never left.
Like that's rare in the motor trade. That is really, really rare, isn't it?
Like Hotel California, nobody ever left.
Yeah,
but they came to work for us, and
how long had the garage been going on for that time?
So we started in 1985. Paul was the first employee. My brother was the second employee, and then we built up 34 people in total. Wow. So 32 people around them. Right. And yes, when I say nobody had ever left, I lie. People did come and go. We had several apprentices come and go. We had, we had 4, 5 ladies that came and went, either marriage, maternity, paternity, various lady problems or issues or whatever, call it whatever you will. But they didn't leave because they didn't want to work for us. Right? That's a rarity. That's a rarity. So anyway, I told all these guys, a few weeks go by, and I said, look, guys, we're going to transition out of this. You know what? I could sell the garage or sell the business. I'm not going to. Yeah. What I'm going to do is give you first opportunity of having the business. So, how will that work? How will that work? You know, more questions and answers. And I said, well, we'll sort it. We transitioned the whole business to them. I ran a very, very transparent business. Everybody knew what was what, who was who, and where we bought what from, and who sold it and how we sold it. So it wasn't rocket science. It wasn't any hidden agenda. We transitioned the business to the employees over a period of a year. And the very last month, Charnjit and I worked for free. Everything that the business earned, they kept. They didn't pay us a wage. I said, I don't want it. You guys, this is your first month of earning a head start. Everything you build up this month is yours. Yeah. Right. And I allowed them to keep all the profits and everything. And on the last day, we held a bit of a farewell drinks party, if you like, in the showroom. And I walked out there with tears in my eyes. Yet again, I was crying. Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. And I didn't know whether they were happy tears or sad tears, because sadness was that I built this business up for a lifetime and walking out of it. And Porsche was my dream, and I'm giving it up because at the time there was no electric Porsche. What was I going to go to? And I didn't want to drive an electric, didn't want to drive a petrol or a diesel car.
What year was this? 2013, 2012?
Yeah, 2012, 13. So it was January, the first week in January of 2013.
Yeah.
We officially gave it up on December the 31st, but we went into work the first week.
Yeah.
And yeah, to be honest, so saddened, but so gladdened at the same time. And I can't explain. You know what? The nearest feeling I can explain to that was this Sunday. We went to Wembley, and Coventry got there.
Yeah.
Great day. We were there a year ago watching Luton in the playoffs, but this time, a 3-0 down, we were all laughing and joking, thinking, you know what? Fantastic day. We never thought we'd beat Man United. And at 4-3 in the 120th minute, we were absolutely ecstatic, only for VAR to cut in and say the goals count.
See, I only know a little bit about this match from today because I heard about offside, or apparently it's a load of rubbish, but I don't know much other than that. But yeah, it's one of them, mate. One of them. Apparently modern football's a load of shit. That's all I know.
That's the nearest thing I can give to you being gladdened and sad at the same time. I came home on Sunday, and Charnjit said to me, we saw it on TV, and I said, I don't want to talk. She said, why? I said, I'm emotionally drained. I'm mentally and emotionally drained because I don't know whether to feel so proud the guys did us so proud, or she feels so hurt that we lost, and I don't know which. But it is what it is, and that's the feeling I had when I left Autobahn, because here's a business that you built all your blood, sweat, and tears and beyond. You stake your life on it and given everything, and you're walking away from it. But you've given it, hopefully, to good people to carry on and do the good deed, if you like. And we left. Then starts the journey. Finally, we get onto electrification. Finally.
Only an hour and 27 minutes in, people. Hour and 27 minutes, and now we're talking about electric cars.
Right.
Welcome to the story. This is honestly such an amazing story, Lash. Welcome to
the electric podcast.
I knew it was going to be a good story. Yeah. But honestly, mate, this is fantastic. I'm so glad that I've had you on for this. I'm going to retitle this video for sure.
I think you're going to have to split it into two, at least.
No.
I
series.
Anybody who's watching and or watches actually, listens to.
Come on, we said electric words. Come on, let's get into it.
Right. So, 2013, we were at a loss. Didn't really know what to do, and it was like the underground movement. It was like, that's the best way I can describe it. An underground movement. Hear about electric cars, and I read about electric cars, but nobody really knows about electric cars. Nobody's doing anything.
Yeah.
And I hear of this chap called Professor Colin Heron in Manchester, in Newcastle University. Read a bit about him. Rang him up. I says, I messaged him and got his details. I said, can I come and talk to you? Yeah, I'll talk to you. Travelled to Newcastle, have a chat with him. I said, no, I'm really into. I gave enough stories. So this is where I'm at. I want to do something electric cars. And he was working for Nissan at the time. And he says, I run this course, I do this, I do that. And we started to go to various conferences, various exhibitions around Europe, in London, not mainstream enough to come to Coventry or the local cities. And I find out more and more about electric cars, and I think this is really interesting. So I said to Charnjit, yes, you know what, electric cars can be the next big thing. That's what we need to look at. But what we're not going to do is open a showroom. We're not going to retail cars. There's got to be something different. There's got to be a different way of doing this. So that's it. And then I get the Sunday Times. I'm reading the Sunday Times, and there's this article. This guy called Elon Musk is bringing out a Falcon Dove 7-seat car, 2.5 ton, that's quicker than a 911 turbo. I think the guy's full of shit. Who's going to do that? And he's going to produce it mainstream. Nah, that's never going to work, right? Anyway, put the paper down. Curiosity gets rid of me. I like pick the paper up about an hour later. I think I'll read that article again. Still don't believe it. Put the paper down. Give it a week. Pick the same paper up. Read it again. I think maybe, I don't know. And I've done this several times. On and off. Read this article. I keep thinking it's never going to be true. And then I thought, oh fuck it. Excuse my language. Sorry.
No, don't worry.
No. I go to Birmingham. Go to Tesla. So I drive to Tesla. I said, look, I want to place a deposit on this car. A Tesla Model X. And the guy said, no, you mean Model S? I said, no, Model X. He said, no. He says, we don't do a Model X. I said, no. He said, we do a Model X, S. I said, I know you do a Model S, but I don't want that car. I want a Model X. I want to place a deposit. The guy would not take my money. He said, no, we don't do it. Okay, I spent like literally 10 minutes, 15 minutes trying to talk to this guy, and he just was adamant. Okay. So we go to Birmingham, do a bit of shopping, come back. About a week later, this article is still getting the better of me. It's one of them things, you don't want to pay any attention, but you can't help paying any attention.
Yeah.
And I pick up the newspaper and I thought, sod it. Dennis, what are you doing? I said, I'm going to drive off to Tesla. I'll be back in a short while. Go to Tesla, go to the guy, and I said, see this? That says Model X. I want to leave you a deposit for that car. He says, well, look, I can't take a deposit. I said, please do me a favor. I'm going to give you £1,000. You take £1,000. You give me a receipt to say it's on a Tesla Model X. If Tesla never produce it, don't worry about it. Give me my money back.
Yep.
If they produce it, I want to buy that car. That's simple. I managed to convince him to take my money. Takes my money. I hear nothing for a long time. About April time, 2015, the guys rang me up. He said, oh, you came in? Yeah. Left a deposit? Yeah. They're going to produce that car. Do you want to spec it up? Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll come and see you. So we sit there, and to be honest, the guy didn't have a clue. He knew nothing about it. I knew probably more about it than he did because I'd read a bit more about it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I'll have it in grey. I'll have this. I'll have this. And I said, all the options, just tick every single box. I'll have everything.
Hang on. No, Lash, you can't. I need to know what the spec is. So is it a 6-seater, 5-seater, or a 7-seater?
It's a 7-seater P100D, right?
Nice.
In grey,
black
leather, with absolutely everything on it. And I mean, at the time, everything that could have been available.
Sub-Zero, premium, big wheels.
Yeah, big wheels, everything, right? With ludicrous mode.
Oh, we've got a few people who have just joined us at the late stage of an hour and a half in.
But they thought they were on the next episode.
So, just to say that Stefan is a big Porsche fan. He's the only my first person I knew and friend that had a Porsche, a Boxster with no aircon. You know what that means, Lash? Unsaleable.
1996 car, one of the first early production cars.
There we go. And then we've got David, who I was speaking to today. He said, was the Autobahn?
Yes. I can see it.
There we go. Yes, it was.
We gifted it to PCT. We gave it to them. They changed the name. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. Sorry, carry on. Carry on, Lash.
I ticked every single box, including ludicrous mode. We had this car, £143,000. He says, "Are you sure you want this car?" I said, "Yeah."
143. Wowzers. Yeah. Nice. Yeah.
Who cares? Give the cat another canary. Let's just have it all. Right? We'll have all of that.
Yeah.
Tick the boxes, and if still on a £1,000 deposit, I didn't have to pay anything until they confirmed the build.
Yeah. Which,
to my amazement, September they said the car's being built. You need to pay more money. I did, and then they said, "Oh, your car's going to be here early 2016." I said, "Fine." Only that, like October, the first week in October, they said, "Your car's ready. It's here." Really? Wow. I thought I'd come and see it. I went to Birmingham and I went to see it, and they knew nothing about it. Like I said, it was honestly, they knew nothing about it. Yeah. The lady got an iPad, and every question I asked her, she was like scrolling the pages thinking, is there the answer there? I said, "Oh, don't worry about it. I'll sort it out." I just looked at it and I was thinking, shall I take this car now or the typical motor trader, you and me. I was thinking, shall I take it January the 1st, registered 2016?
Yeah,
And I said, you know what? Can you just keep the car here, and I'll take it on January the 1st? She said, oh, we don't open January the 1st. I said, don't worry, I'll take it on January the 2nd. So I went and picked it up January the 2nd, and I have a video. Well, first of all, I picked this car up, and I'm driving it back down the A45 towards Coventry. This car is absolutely unbelievable. Oh wow, Stefan bought his second Boxster from Autobahn. Nice one, thank you for the business.
There we go. Small world. Stefan, if you've not watched the first hour and a half, mate, you need to go back and watch this. This has been an amazing story. Sorry, Lash, carry on.
So I picked this car up, I'm driving down the A45, and this, honestly, this is a car. You know how big the Model X is if you've driven one or seen one, right?
I've driven one before. I think it was a 75 and an 85.
It feels like the size of a bloody house, a boat, right? It's heavy as a Rolls Royce, and yet it's as quick as a 911 turbo. And this thing was like silent, no noise. It's like, wow. And it's instant. I was on and off the throttle, on and off the throttle. Just getting that. And I thought, this is unbelievable.
Did you have a charger at home yet?
Not at that time, no.
Right.
Not at that time. So I thought, wow, this is just mind blowing. I got it home. So I remember I have on record somewhere, I call it a Jeremy Clarkson walk around video. And I walk around, I press the button, and the doors open. I said, oh, you can do this with this car. And did you know? And I'm just absolutely like more than gobsmacked. I'm amazed. I'm astounded. I'm almost fascinated by this car. I think, how can this be? I just can't believe what I'm seeing and driving. And I thought, you know what? If the world could sample this, it'd be a game changer.
Yeah.
So there I am. We start this underground movement, going to conferences, talking, shows, and this is spreading a little bit now. Warwick University have got a function on. They call it New Mobility. London XL, somewhere here, there. And the people in the room knew, but the people outside the room knew nothing about electric cars. And when I started to explain this to a few people, even friends, family, I said, oh, we've got this electric car, and you know, it does this, and half you're talking to them, they just turn around and say, yeah, and all right, mate, yeah, how's it go? I thought I was talking to you about electric car, you know, and they just cut you dead, just didn't want to know, did not want to know. And I thought, this isn't right. Only if they could see, feel, touch, drive what I'm doing, experience it. And that's where the subscription concept was born, because I thought, if I could give you a car for a month and say, you try this, you live with it, you drive it, you experience it, you'd be absolutely sold on it. How do I do that? Because you cut me off halfway through my conversation. You don't want to know about electric. You think I need 350, 600 miles in my tank, right? Petrol and diesel I can fill up in minutes. All the usual, everything that we know today, those arguments still existed then.
Yeah.
And I thought, if I could give you the keys to my car, you go and drive it, you go and experience it, you'd feel different. And I thought, how do I do that? And that was, like I said, I've got a roll-up banner here, which I unearthed a few weeks ago to try and clear up, from 2016, where it's got the subscription element of how you do it. I took it to an event to try and explain to people that that's what we'd do.
Yeah.
That was the easy bit. The hard bit was 4 years of my life, from 2016 to 2020, our lives, Charnjit and I, of talking and knocking on every single insurance company in the UK, trying to convince them that you, me, Tom, Dick, Harry, Leeds, Liverpool, Glasgow, London, we're all the same. If you can drive, you should pay one fee for insurance, and you should be able to have it for a month, not a year. Right? That, we spoke to everybody. You'd spend the same spiel, give them the presentation, tell them the reasons why, how, right? Oh yeah, we can do this. I'll take this to hierarchy. They're going to believe us. This is going to be a game changer, complete game changer. 9 months later, oh, they don't want to do it.
So it sounds like you did a lot of groundwork for potentially some of the companies that potentially came and went.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
Right.
They, at the same time as we were on the road on this journey, Rob Jolly from Onto, as it was before that, EV Easy, before that Rent E. We followed each other's journey. So Rob is my nearest and dearest rival, but also a very good friend. He lives 8 miles up the road. Their business was 8 miles up the road. He studied at Warwick University and he worked at JLR. Right, as local as can be.
Right.
He is a great guy. He had the same vision that we had, and we even went to the same. We worked so Barclays Eagle Labs, which is like a incubator. That's the word, incubator.
Yeah.
Right. They took Rent E in and thought that was a great business and they could do something with it. They took us in and thought we were a great business, we could do something with it. Rob was about 6 months ahead of us, and we were at one conference, yet again another conference at Warwick University called New Mobility, and this was the first international conference. Actually, they'd brought in companies and speakers from America, from Canada, from Germany, insurance companies, car companies, all sorts. And Rob and I had this understanding. We'd always say, right, let's work the room. You go to the left, I'll go to the right, and we'll sort of diagonally crisscross the room, networking. And what you do is collect business cards off people, collecting business cards off insurance companies because we needed them, right? And anything else allied to what might help our business. So that day, all the insurance companies were in the room, Zurich, Aon, all the big players. Rob got lucky and I came second because he spoke to Zurich first. I spoke to Aon first. 6 weeks later, I get a meeting with Zurich, and the guy actually said to me, I'll come and see you out of courtesy. Those were his words, and he made the appointment. When he comes to see us, I remember his name well, Darren Stoddard. He comes to see us and he says, Lash, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, mate. I've come to tell you this in person because we're not going to be dealing with you. We're going to deal with EV Easy. We can trial them.
Yeah.
And Aon had said to me, they'd do it. And so had LV. But LV took 14 months over the decision and then said, oh, we're getting bought out by, I can't remember, Aon or AXA. One of them buying them out. And I said to the guy, I said, surely you're not dealing with the buyout, are you? You're supposed to be sorting out insurance for me.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. But they didn't do anything. And as you know, LV are big into electric cars today, but they weren't then. Cut a long story short, we spent all this time trying to find an insurance provider, which to no avail. So EZOO, who have been and gone now, they had an investment of £1.2 billion only 2 years ago. And they've So Harry Franks, great guy from EZOO. In fact, all the people that I ever dealt with, to be honest, they were all lovely people. We didn't do the business, but nothing against the people. They were all really nice people. I was in Australia just before lockdown. So Davina had gone to university, studied at Warwick. Part of her program was in exchange in Melbourne.
Yeah.
Did you keep any classic? I'll come to that in a bit. It'll keep you in suspense there. So we're in Australia, and I rang Harry Franks and said, Harry, you know what? I really need to get this insurance thing done because it's now January, right? February 2020. We need to go to market. Can you do it or not? 4 years I've been talking to Harry Franks on the insurance. 4 years he'd say, Lash, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to do this.
Yeah.
Anyway, on the Sunday, come back to the UK. Lockdown happens on the Monday. Getting to working from home, I get all my business cards out, hundreds of them that collected, laid them out all on the floor.
Yeah.
Got the bin next to me, and I thought, haven't spoken to you. Bin. Out of about 120 cards, I'd got 6 cards left. Literally 6 cards. I thought, I'll ring these 6 people. Harry Franks, rang him up. He said, no can do at the moment. I rang up a lady that worked for him, Kristen Smith. So I was just about to put the phone down. It rang and rang on a foreign turn. About to put the phone down. She answered. She said, "Oh, hello." I said, "Kristen, is that you?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "Oh, this is Lash from EZOO. We've been talking for a while." "Yeah." She said, "I'm in the south of France." I said, "I'm talking about car insurance. You know, we've been talking for a number of years now." She said, "I don't work for EZOO anymore." "Oh, sorry. I'm sorry to disturb you." I put the phone down. She said, No, don't go." She said, "I work for a drone insurance company." I said, "Really?" I thought, what's that got to do with me? I just want to know whether you can get me insurance or not. She said, "Let me find out. I'll call you back." Okay, put the phone down. Carried on. I tried the Aon guy, no answer. I tried Darren Stoddard again at Zurich. He said, "Look, I can try for you, but I don't know where the world's going to at the minute," which nobody did.
Yeah.
And somebody else and somebody else. Anyway, bugger me. An hour later, Kristen Smith rings back. She says, "Lash," she says, "I've just had a word. I think we can do something for you. We only insure drones, but we'll have a go with electric cars."
Oh, wow.
Wow. Okay. Great. I said, "So what does that mean?" She says, "I'll get some more details. I'll email you." And to be fair, that day we were on and off the phone, on and off the phone, on and off email, on and off email. By 6 o'clock that night, she says, we'll get this done. And the next few days prevailed, and contact.
And that was the catalyst, wasn't it? The insurance, because of the short-term loan of the vehicles, right? Yeah.
She said she could do it. And she said, "Look, I can do it. I just need time. July the 20th, 2020, we'll go to market with 3 cars. Here we are today with 200 and something cars on subscription, about 100 odd cars on salary sacrifice.
Yeah.
And we employ 14 people. We have a hub in Glasgow. We have our operation working from home from the outbuilding. Yeah, that's us.
Easy.
Yeah, that's we've got a new website coming, new platform coming for salary sacrifice. That's happening in the next 3 weeks or 4 weeks. It's all happening. So we've transitioned. Things have been tough since the start of the year. I'm not lying.
Yeah.
I'm not joking. It's not all been roses. It's been a bloody hard journey, to be honest. And where we're going to now is salary sacrifice as a main offering and subscription as a secondary offering.
Right.
But we are the UK's only in-house subscription and salary sacrifice company.
Yeah.
We can offer the UK's shortest term for salary sacrifice of 12 months from stock, delivery to your home direct from us within 7 days.
Yeah.
So the motto is choose your car, choose your term, delivered to your door for subscription or salary sacrifice. As I say, from 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. And yeah, we're doing it. We're doing it. We're here.
Insurance included, ready to go.
Absolutely everything. All you've got to do is charge and drive.
So, I mean, what an amazing journey you've gone on. And, you know, I didn't want to, you know, honestly, that story's been amazing. And I really wasn't expecting it, you know, the full Porsche garage, you know, because obviously we went into detail, which is great because I'm obviously ex-motor trade. So I appreciate that story so much, as I'm sure you know.
You encouraged me. You kept saying, "What about your petrolhead days? What about your petrolhead days?"
Absolutely. Well, just a little story for everyone, because I was working in the motor trade, and you know, I had a very similar experience to Lash. I got the after it was like a talk with Colin Hutton, who was the fleet director for Vindiscreet. He said, "Look, electrics, it's the way forward. You know, it's the good. You need to get involved in it early doors because there's the opportunity there." And I had that big passion for the environment and clean air and all the rest of it. And I wanted to jump ship. And funnily enough, it was Lash that I kept on seeing at the Fully Charged show. We had a couple of conversations when I started Chargeheads, and it's very, very close to, you know, joining EZOO. So, you know, it's strange how paths cross, but it's fantastic to hear this story, Lash. It really is. So have you still got the Model X?
No, the Model X has been and gone. Yeah, that's
Have you got a Taycan now?
No, we've got several Teslas, Model Ys, Model 3s, Performance, this, that, the other. We've got several other brands, but I have now got a lot of Porsche Macan arriving, electric.
Yeah. Do you know what? I've seen a few reviews coming up recently. I need to check them out. So
that will be the hottest electric car for probably the next, I would say, 18 months, right? Because it's do you have market? I'll come to that question in a minute.
A very good question, Kieran.
Yeah,
good shot.
Yeah. The Macan electric, if you can imagine a £70,000 price tag, SUV, 360-mile range, WLTP.
Yep, 300.
But a Porsche badge on it.
Yes.
Right, on salary sacrifice, that car at £1,000 a month, done. Right? That'd be like shelling peas. I feel so good about that, because that's like taking it back the whole cycle.
Yeah, full circle. Yeah, right? For sure.
To answer an earlier question, we'll come back to the van subscription in a second. To answer the earlier question, do I have or did I ever keep the 911?
Any classic Porsches?
A little story there. I was up in Scotland at our branch one day, and the phone rings. Answer the phone and says, "Hi Lash, it's so and so. Are you still in the Porsche market?" And I said, "Yeah, sort of. Well, what is it that you got?" He said, "Oh, I bought a 911 from you back in 2003." I said, "Yeah." And he gave me his name. I said, "I remember, from Burnley." He says, "Yeah." He said, "I said, you still got the car?" He says, "Yeah." He said, "I don't use it anymore. It's too much for me." He says, "I've kept it here and I nurture it and I get it serviced, blah, blah, blah." I said, "You know what? I'm in Glasgow. I'm going to be driving down tomorrow. I'll drop down and I'll have a beer with you. We'll have a look at the car." So off we go. He lives up this remote part of Burnley. Meet him. We look at the car. We sit down. We have a beer. We chew the fat. End up buying the car. And I said to him, "Okay, I'll come and get it." He says, "Don't worry about it." He says, "I'll get the car down to you." He says, "Just pay me when you can." This is old school motor trade. This is how it used to work. This is a customer. He trusts me for the full amount of the car and sends the car to me. Right? He even then, 2 weeks later, sent me 4 tires for it. He said, "I'd ordered these before you bought the car."
What Porsche was it?
So it's a 911, 1988 G15. So with the hydraulic clutch on it, and reverse in the opposite direction to away from you and up. Anyway, it's a 3.2 Sport Carrera Targa, and I've just spent a fortune on it with a private, independent Porsche setup to get all the mechanicals done on it and everything.
What color was it?
Minerva blue, not Minerva blue, sorry. Should know this. It's not Minerva blue. It's a blue metallic, but I can't think of the color now. It's gone out of my mind.
I'm just trying to find it. Something like that.
Yeah, that's it. The one on the right hand side, the big picture.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Beauty.
Yeah. So you're the first people to know that I've got that car. I've never told anybody the story.
Chargeheads exclusive. We love a Chargeheads exclusive. There we go. So have you spoken to anyone about the EV conversion yet?
No, not yet. Not yet.
Was it a G body? Is it a G body? Is it?
Yeah. G15 gearbox. That's what they call it. G15.
See, mate, my Porsche knowledge is really poor. Do you know what? Funnily enough, the only Porsches that I know of and know about is I was pretty good with Macans, because I used to buy a lot of Macans when I used to be a used car buyer.
Yeah.
My other Porsche knowledge, I'm all right with Taycans a little bit, but the old school stuff, because obviously Zero EV, who are now Felton, quite a few people do conversions for that.
Yeah, so I've spoken to Chris, isn't it, at Zero EV?
I was talking.
I spoke to Chris.
Sorry, I just took you off stage there for a minute. I was talking to Chris yesterday about you.
Yeah. So I
Ironically.
spoke to Chris a couple of weeks ago because he wants to do something
with a Mini.
Yeah, and or something different. And I've been doing a bit of research, but that's a hard market. Anyway, do you see a market for van subscriptions? You know what? That's a difficult question. I always used to think yes, having been involved with the cars, and when people bring back the cars to you, it's amazing how some people bring a car they've only had for 3 months, and this car is absolutely what's the word I'm trying to think of? Deteriorating. Yeah. Some people just abuse the cars. They completely, utterly abuse the cars. You come back with £4,000, £5,000, £6,000 worth of damage. How can you do that in 3 months? Right? They're just absolutely the age-old term. It's a rental. Don't be gentle. That type of thing, right? People just annihilate the cars. The vans, I dread to think what condition.
Yeah, I don't think there is a. Fun enough, I was talking to 2 lovely ladies at the CV show today from a van rental place in Birmingham, and we had a good old giggle, a great laugh we were having, and I was talking about rental of electric vans, and they said that there's just no market there, and I can understand that because they can rent a diesel van for cheapness. Why would you rent an electric van? Because you have to. The electric van's going to be that much more expensive. It's got to be a massive benefit. So maybe someone who's already got an electric van for a contract has to have an electric van. So there might be a market for that, maybe going to London every day. So there might be, but yeah, it's very small, I would say, at the moment.
Just to counter, contract, what's what I'm trying to think of? Counteract what I've just said. I went to an event, Earthfest, on Saturday in London, and I met with a guy there, and he says, "Oh, do you do vans?" And I said, "Actually, you know what? We've got one customer in London who's got 6 cars off us, but we've also got a Ford Transit electric van for him." And he says, "I only want it for deliveries in London."
Yeah.
If that's what you want to do, it works well.
Yeah.
Right? But if you think you're going to get a van and you're going to go from London to Newcastle, it's not going to work well.
No.
Right? Central,
it's not Tesla van.
Central, whatever, central any part of any city, it'll work well for local.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Perfect tool. If you think you're a builder's merchant or you're going to throw sand and concrete and anything else in it, you're going to, from a subscription point of view, the van's going to be destroyed. From an ownership point of view, it could work.
Yeah.
Right. What does work, and we've got VW ID Buzz.
Yeah. Have you got buzzes? Have you?
Yeah. So people like them, but the only thing is, the ones we've got are the first generation.
Yeah.
First edition, 5-seater. We were told when we bought them, "Oh, you can just buy a conversion after and put the 7 seats in." So 2 years after owning them, you ask them, "How to do this conversion?" "Oh, you can't convert it." So
Volkswagen mis-selling.
Yeah.
What, you can update your car over the air on your ID3? Of course you can. Yeah.
So, I think somebody I just saw yesterday the new ID Buzz concept for the camper that Volkswagen are going to do. It looks fantastic. I think it'll take them 2 years yet to do it, but there are plenty of people who are converting the ID Buzzes. They're buying them as a van, then doing a conversion for the camper.
Do you know what? Today I saw, and I'm not a Ford guy at all, but Ford had an amazing stand at CV show. Yeah. They got an amazing Ford Transit camper van. I know it hasn't got the the coolness of VW camper, but I tell you what, they do an electric version of the camper that I was in. That camper was amazing, really, really, really good.
We're going to, you say Ford, so Autobahn, back to the showroom. Yeah. That's now a camper van place, Platinum Campers. The guy there, he's really switched on. He's got a contract with Ford manufacturing to do the camper vans that you're on about.
That's interesting because the camper that I saw today was, I mean, it was literally OEM level of quality and all the rest of it.
That's what these guys do.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I mean, and I said, oh, you know, yeah, they had lots of electric stuff there. It was pretty impressive. But Lash, I think, you know, this is the longest one we've ever had, and I tell you what, it's been fantastic. It really has. So everyone
I'll tell you what, not getting you back on again.
No, honestly, Lash, it's been brilliant, really, really good, and I'm sure you know I'm sure we'll see each other at an event sometime soon. And it was great to hear the story of the Porsche garage, and you know, it just to sum everything up, really, after that amazing story is, you know, it's so true that you can be an absolute, you know, fuel through the veins petrol head, and I'm sure you still are a petrol head in a lot of ways, but ultimately you realize that actually electric is so much opportunity from a business point of view. It's an amazing vehicle to drive, the performance, the torque, the quietness, you know, it's so many benefits to it in terms of servicing and everything. And my test has done over 100,000 miles now. And, you know, it's still going strong. It's I think, you know, having the short-term subscription service, I always recommend, look, you know, drive one, own one for, you know, a short period of time, because I think just having one test drive, you don't really get it. The only kind of drawback with that is having the charging at home. That is the key. If you haven't got a driveway and you haven't got charging at work, that is an issue which still needs to be overcome. And, you know, it's something that's just why I got into the charging industry in the first place, not necessarily to do DC charging and batteries and truck charging, which is amazing. But that AC charging does need to be fixed by the government. And I'm hoping whoever gets rid of the dirty, rotten scoundrels that are in there at the moment do a slightly better blooming job and, solve a lot of the issues at the moment. But Lash, thank you so much for
thank you
today.
I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry. It was amazing. And anyone that's watching, please give us a like. Make sure you share it. I'm going to change the title from, rather than Porsche to EV, I'm going to say the story, because it was an amazing story. So I'll have to think about what I'm going to change the title to. But it just goes, like I said, just to summarize, it just goes to show that, you know, a diehard petrol head like yourself, Lash, can be open to the, you know, EV side of things. But thanks everyone for tuning in. Again, thank you very much, Lash. And I'm not sure if anyone will see this in time, but Sunday, if you can make it, Electric Vehicle Festival at Lutterworth, there with a stand with 3 EV conversions. We've got a couple of Beetle EV conversions. We've got a Lotus Tesla powered conversion. And we've got a load of modified Teslas. Great event. Johnny from Late Break Show's there. Johnny is bringing something special. Moggy's going to be there with a couple of exciting cars. There's going to be loads of EV groups there as well, and Chargeheads is going to be there. So it's going to be a great event, and it looks like the weather's going to hold out. It might be a bit grey, but who cares?
Good luck.
Thanks again, Lash. Thanks everyone for listening.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
See you next week.
Hey, cheers. Bye.